What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, TV shows. If it's geeky, if it's nerdy, this is where we talk about it. And right now, guys, I have a new favorite movie of the year. So you know how this review is going to go. Trial of the Chicago 7, the Netflix original movie, is wonderful. It is wonderful. You can, don't turn the video off yet, but you can turn the video off now because that is my review. It is delightful. It is wonderful. It is the best movie of the year. It's a shame that this did not get a theatrical release because it is that good. So, backstory on me, I am a history teacher. I love history. I get into history. I get into politics. And this is the type of stuff that I'm into. For whatever reason, I am a sucker for courtroom dramas. And this is a courtroom drama. In fact, when the movie begins, you don't even see the incident. It has a little bit of setup at the beginning, and then it cuts right into the courtroom drama. It cuts right into the trial. As the movie progresses, we get lots of flashbacks that shows what happened. And again, this is a true story. The true story of the Chicago 7. It's true. And it was, by the way, it was really the Chicago 8. But this movie was all about the performances. All about the performances. You had Sacha Baron Cohen played Abbie Hoffman, and I've never seen him better. I've never seen Sacha Baron Cohen better. He played this role to perfection. And now I do think this is a lot in his wheelhouse, you know. I feel like Sacha Baron Cohen has a certain level of activism in him. I feel like he's a very liberal individual in real life, and he's got that activism component to his personality. So I do feel like this is playing into his wheelhouse. I feel like Sacha Baron Cohen probably shares a lot of political viewpoints and society viewpoints and you know, viewpoints about our system in general, our culture in general, that Abbie Hoffman would have actually had. So again, playing into his wheelhouse, but he just knocks it out of the park. He does such a great job with it. When he was on the screen, I was glued to the screen. It was a brilliant, phenomenal performance. Eddie Redmayne. I am not a huge fan of Eddie Redmayne. I get that he's a good actor, and I get that he's got a lot of accolades, but for whatever reason, I've never been a huge fan of him. I don't know if it's his look or the way he delivers his lines or whatever it might be. I've never been a big fan. I mean, even with me being a big Harry Potter fan, I don't even love him in the role of in his Fantastic Beast role. I just don't love him as an actor. I liked him in this. He fit this role perfectly. For whatever reason, I don't know why he reminded me of his role in Les Mis. Completely separate time periods, completely separate continents, completely separate contexts, but he reminded me of that. Probably because I found him to be pretty tolerable in Les Mis. I found him to be good here. I really liked him in this role, where he played Tom Hayden. And Tom Hayden was one of the organizers of the protest that led to the riot, and a lot of the weight on what happened at the Chicago riot really fell onto his shoulders, and Abbie Hoffman's shoulders as well. And he did not see eye to eye with a lot of the other activists who were working with him. And when him and Sacha Baron Cohen there were moments in the movie where they were kind of having it out. Those were wonderful, wonderful moments in the movie. Both of them acted it perfectly. And then there was a point in the movie where Tom Hayden, played by Eddie Redmayne, had to have a bit of humility and realize, I am not the right person for this job. And he gives something over to Sacha Baron Cohen to do. And guys, I'm gushing here because this movie was so good and the performances were so good. A couple other performances everybody in this is good, but a couple other performances I wanted to point out. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Richard Schultz, the federal prosecutor. He was somebody who stood on principle. He portrayed this prosecutor as somebody who stood on principle. He was representing the people. He was prosecuting these guys. Whether or not he believed that they were truly criminals or not, it was his job to prosecute them, so that was what he was doing. Now, he explains to Sacha Baron Cohen's character in the movie, yes, I do think you're criminals. You know, they run into each other outside of the courtroom at one point, and he's like, I do think you're criminals. But he was an endearing character that we never really felt was a bad guy, because he was all about principle. He was all about process. He was all about what were his responsibilities. So even though he was prosecuting people that should not have been prosecuted, even though he was prosecuting people who were innocent of what they were being accused of, to some degree, to some degree. I mean, I think that through the course of the movie, we did find out that they were at least instigating. Even though it was the police that started the riots, they were at least instigating. And that's fine. I'm not here to get into some sort of political debate. The Chicago 7 were evil. They weren't evil. They didn't deserve what they got. But I think that the movie did outline that they were at least instigating. But even though he was there to prosecute them, the Chicago 7 were the protagonist of the movie. They were the protagonists. They were the good guys. And he's there to put the good guys behind bars. We still like the character because he was very endearing and he was very principled, right? Oh gosh, I gotta tell you guys. Now, on another side of the coin, Frank Langella, Skeletor himself, Frank Langella, he played the judge, Julius Hoffman. And this guy was not endearing at all. He is the antagonist of the movie. Straight up antagonist of the movie. He's the bad guy. The judge is the bad guy. And he was played beautifully by Frank Langella. He was despicable. He was racist. He was bigoted towards people who weren't like him. He had a skewed superiority complex on his take of the law. He was the wrong person in that chair, and the film very clearly laid out that he was not the correct person to try that crime, to try that trial. And Langella played him with such a nuanced despicableness that, again, he was the antagonist, he was the bad guy, but when he was on screen, I was glued to it because his performance was phenomenal. All right, Michael Keaton was also worth mentioning as Ramsey Clark, the Attorney General, former Attorney General. He was Attorney General during the riots, and Michael Keaton's only in it for a small little bit, but his role was extremely pivotal, and I love the way that he played it. Again, we talked about nuance with Frank Langella's character. Michael Keaton brings a certain amount of nuance, but he also brings a certain air of righteousness to the role. And I you'll probably won't even understand what I mean until you see the movie, but he's only in it maybe 10 minutes, but he had an impact. So Michael Keaton did just a great job. Finally, what is the actor who played him? There it is. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II played Bobby Seale. Bobby Seale was one of the members of the Chicago 8. He was the 8th defendant, and he eventually got his case dismissed before the trial was over as a mistrial. Whew. Mateen's performance was golden. If there were to be an Academy Award this year, he would be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He was brilliant, and he played his role with such courage, with such strength, with such dignity, fortitude. That's the word I'm looking for. This gentleman had fortitude. Now, I don't know much about Bobby Seale in real life. I don't know what kind of character he was in real life. Really, all I know about him is his involvement with the trial of the Chicago 7. But I'll say that in the movie, he was portrayed as somebody who had fortitude and strength and courage. And I really, really, really enjoyed Mateen's performance here. So yeah, the Trial of the Chicago 7 was the best movie that I've seen so far this year. I give it an A. It was amazing, and it was amazing because of the performances. The performances, every performer in this movie knocked it out of the park, and I loved it. So it's an A for me. That being said, Have you seen The Trial of the Chicago 7? If so, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. I was riveted. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you so much for joining me here at the Oki Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you later.